What up, everybody? It's the No Politics Podcast. I'm your boy, Faking No Moves.
I'm your boy, Eric B. NYC.
I'm WorkinGenius.
And you already know it's your weekly dose. If it's worth talking about, we talking about it. So today,
I wonder what we're talking about.
What we talking about?
I mean,
what has been in the news?
Whole world been talking about a couple things, but
I've seen only one thing on my feed lately.
Yeah.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised.
I'm ready to put this fucking conversation to rest. Let's put it to bed.
Damn, this like some East Coast beef shit though. Like I don't like
Let's
it.
Let's get it all out on the table.
Philly, we got Brooklyn.
That thought didn't cross my mind at any point.
It just crossed my mind right now.
Not with guys in their 50s. It really didn't cross my mind. But I fucks with the tie-in though. Yeah, it's an aggressive tie-in because
I was just
because dudes got shot off of what you're talking about. Somebody just got smacked. So, but but let's set it up though. So, Oscar award show Sunday night. Will Smith, a lot of hype about Will Smith and his role for King Richard. Anybody doesn't know what King Richard is? It is the film that was loosely based on the life of Serena and Venus Williams and, their father Richard Williams, who is the one that basically trained them and helped them, get to the point of their career that they are now, which, legendary tennis careers for both of them. Serena, arguably the greatest female athlete of all time. Definitely the greatest female tennis player of all time. So Will Smith was nominated for Best Actor. I think this was his third nomination. I think he was nominated for Pursuit of Happiness and Ali, if I'm not mistaken. But long story short,
sounds correct.
I was watching the Oscars, which I rarely do, only because
was not on.
Will Smith was nominated, so I had a vested interest. I was like, "Oh, let me watch it." You know what I mean?
Damn, you should have hit the group text like, "Yo, Will Smith nominated. Check in."
Yeah,
I mean, I saw King Richard. I seen that.
I haven't seen it yet. It was a good movie, I have it queued on my download. Like I downloaded it, and I want to watch it. And I actually plan to watch it this weekend because I knew the Oscars was happening, but I didn't get around to it. But long story short. Big night for Will Smith just being nominated. A lot of people thought he was the favorite. And so award show happens. And the big thing that everybody's talking about revolving around Will Smith and Chris Rock. Chris Rock happened to be a presenter, I believe, of the award for Best Documentary, if I'm not mistaken, which ended up.
I remember him saying.
Yeah. The winner of that was Questlove. Shout out to Questlove, another win for hip hop, of the Roots, that is. So before Quest came on stage, Chris Rock, you're muted right now.
Oh shit, my bad.
No, it's all good.
No, Questlove. Shout out Questlove.
So Questlove.
My bad.
Okay.
Chris Rock presented the award for him, and this is when it all went down.
So if you were hiding under a rock somewhere, basically, Chris Rock goes into a bit. He starts kind of looking at the crowd. He made a few jokes of like Penelope Cruz and her husband, who's also an actor. I think Javier Bardem. I forget his name. Doesn't really matter. But he ends up making the joke about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, more specifically Jada Pinkett, and he says something to the effect of, "Hey, Jada's in the crowd. Can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2. Looking forward to it." He said something like, "Oh yeah, love you, Jada. Can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2. So that gets a laugh from the crowd. Chris looks over and the camera panned to Will, and at first Will chuckled and laughed at it. Jada rolled her eyes. I'm watching this live, mind you, so it's a different perspective for y'all who saw it after the fact. I'm watching this live. And then, next thing you know, Chris saw, I guess, Jada like look a certain way, and he says, "Oh, come on, this wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad, right?" So then, right after that, he's about to go in to presenting the award, and the next thing you know, Will Smith gets on stage and starts walking towards him. So they have like a runway area to where Chris is talking, and Chris sees him and starts chuckling and starts laughing because from the vantage point that we have, it appears as though he is under the belief that this is gonna be Will making a goof about it, and maybe he's gonna grab the microphone or he's gonna do something where he's gonna act like he's gonna show aggression towards him to stick up for his wife, yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
But instead, Will Smith walked up to him and smacks him in the face in front of probably like hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened. And it's the most talked about thing, probably, I want to say. Like, I don't know what compares to this.
Oscars ever.
Well, that clip is
most trending.
Is it Janet Jackson in the Super Bowl when her nipple was exposed has to be the other thing that kind of comes to mind when there's like a clip like this that just goes viral and it's just everybody's talking about it the next day. You know, like they have these water.
Even instantly.
Yeah, or instantly.
Because I wasn't even watching it and I knew what happened. Yeah. Like, I saw memes already, all that. I'm like, what the? Yeah. And to be honest, when I get to see it, because I wasn't watching it live, like, my initial reaction and feeling is like, damn, I feel bad for Chris Rock. Because, like, I don't even look at it on a level like, okay, like Hollywood shit, but like I look at them like, yo, these people are older too, they're vets now. Like, Chris Rock ain't gonna bring no harm your way or Jada's way, you know, like he's just probably
fucking around.
This is what happens when we all get in the room together. We talk about each other, we make each other giggle, laugh, whatever. Like, it ain't serious, you know. But it's like, so I felt bad, needless to say. And then the other side of me is like, yo, that's his wife. She has something, actual disease. I wasn't aware.
Apparently, neither was Chris. But
yeah, like, all right, keep going.
But maybe it's been a trending topic where people have been talking about her being bald, and that's something she deals with in her world. We're just not aware of that. And once Will really got hold of the reality of it and seen her upset, whatever happened. Not saying it was.
Well,
right,
that's a conclusion that most people are drawing. That because Will went from laughing. Do we actually have that clip? Because it's a short.
We do have
one.
the clip.
Do you want to play it or not?
Let's pretend I play it.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
But yeah, if you look at the clip,
holy smokes, Batman! It's Chris Rock. Pow!
He literally goes from laughing, and then we don't see the exchange. If there was an exchange of looks between Jada and him, I would imagine there would be. I would imagine he looked over at his wife
and saw that she wasn't amused.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that would make sense from you going from laughing. Now, when I say laughing, it wasn't like he was holding his stomach and almost falling on the floor laughing. Yeah. It could have been a nervous laugh. It could have been just a reaction. Because when you get somebody snaps on you and does it in a public way or snaps on somebody that you care for, there's usually
that laugh could be the play it off laugh. Like I've been victim to that. Ha!
It didn't look like that to me.
And then I know I'm about to do something just so like guard is down. I'm laughing at him.
Nah, it didn't even look like that to me.
I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. Neither of us know. None of us know. It didn't look like that. I
agree. It didn't look like that. So I'm trying to understand. Well, first of all, let's start here. Do you think the action of getting up on stage from your seat at a venue like that, it's an award show, when comics go to award shows, whether they're a presenter or a host, the expectation is that if you're a celebrity in the room, and especially one that's a prominent celebrity, you're up for an award, you're sitting in the front row, you're fair game, you're going to get roasted. That's what these comics are brought there to do. If I'm in a comedy club with y'all two and we step in there and we get a table at the front near the stage, guess what? We're fair game. Those comedians can roast us at their leisure. And if we don't like it, we could get up and leave. Right?
Or we could heckle
you could, but then you could get thrown out. Right? So here's the thing. Is it justified to go up on stage because you feel offended or you feel like your wife was disrespected to put hands on somebody else if you felt a comment was out of line? Aaron,
no.
Do you get a pass?
That's my answer.
No. Do you
feel it's justified?
Do you feel it's justified to what Will did in that instance?
Justified. Define justified.
I mean,
this is spelling bee.
Well,
use it in the sentence.
Do you feel as though
Will did whatever he wanted to do. He knew the consequences, so yeah, he could do whatever he wanted.
But I don't think he did.
No. Not.
We're not asking that though.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm asking, do you feel, based on the joke that was said, based on what you know comedians, especially ones like Chris Rock, to be and their purpose at these functions, do you feel that it was appropriate for him to go up there and smack somebody?
I think honestly honestly, bro, like I don't think it mattered that it was Chris Rock. I think in Will's mind, he realized like the switch went off, like, yo, she don't like this, and I'm tired of just like the pressure of like people joking or saying shit or commenting about us, even though that's what you're in the limelight for.
So I'm saying, do you think it was appropriate?
I don't think it was appropriate. I feel bad for Chris Rock, especially because Chris Rock is harmless.
So we agree, and obviously
I could understand like a man snapping and just being like, "Yo, I didn't even see Chris Rock at that point. I'm just slapping whoever the."
But we're not even there yet.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with.
We're not even there yet. I understand that. That's a valid point, right? We nobody is beyond fucking up and having a moment, right? We can all agree to that. But I'm saying, was the act justified? I would say no. What about you, Cesar?
I would say no. I would say I'm all for someone defending their significant other how they see fit, but I do not think that it was appropriate or justified. No. I think there was, of course, there usually is, a much better way to handle it. I think if he was that offended, which it didn't seem like it just seemed like his wife was offended. If it was that serious, he could pull him to the side after, be like, "Yo, I didn't like that you said that. I really think you should apologize. Whatever. I just think it was weird.
I think if Will would have thought about it on the biggest, like, grander scheme of things, where it's like, yo, we're at the Oscars. This ain't appropriate time to do this. It's Chris Rock. He's harmless. As soon as we get the chance to speak to him personally.
Well, he wasn't harmless, right? Obviously, he felt he wasn't harmless, because if he went up there on stage, he felt like
as a man,
he felt violated.
Because I'm about to violate you since you violated my wife.
Or did he feel violated, or he felt that his wife felt violated, and he felt a pressure to kind of step up and rise to the occasion in the moment and actually do something like
but
that.
But if he would have thought about it from the bigger scheme, I don't think he would have did it that way. That's why I go to say, like, obviously it triggered him to the point where it didn't even matter because he just didn't even think about it and no other perspective.
I don't think it triggered him. Let's cut deep. I don't think it triggered him. If it triggered him, I think the reaction would have been a lot more. We would have read it better.
But he was triggered though, right? But it might have been triggered by his wife's reaction, not Chris Rock and the joke.
Her reaction, not the joke.
It doesn't matter. Once he's triggered by anything, he did what he did without thinking from the perspective. That's fine.
Yeah, we're not talking. Yeah.
If he would have thought about it from that perspective, I think he would have did the right thing and took the appropriate time to just talk to Chris Rock.
But I think we could all agree though, in those instances when somebody slips up like that, you're not thinking. That's the whole way you find yourself in something like that. You're thinking, you're reacting on emotion.
Yeah, I'm not saying man, Will Smith's a bad guy. He would be doing that shit all the time.
Either. I'm not saying it justifies him. I'm just saying that that's the mind state he was in. So there's no really making sense of it because at that point, it didn't even matter to him to make sense. He just did what he did, you know?
I'll say this. First of all, you can't take yourself that serious in that environment. That you can't take a joke. You know what's up. You hear. You know you just like anyone else. Is not personal. Is you could catch shots at these award shows, like you said. That's one. So for Jada to get mad fucking upset about it, and then to me, Will did what he did because he felt pressure by Jada to respond in that moment to show that, look, I stepped up for you kind of thing. I think it goes so much deeper than just like the joke. This was something that, whether this is something that's building or built up within Will Smith, whether it's all the shit he's gotten recently with the Jada stuff, all the jokes he's gotten because of the entanglement shit.
It's a culmination.
Yeah, it's all of that. But to me, the root is Jada's effect on him and their current standing in their relationship made him feel like he had to do something right then and there to make a point.
All right, so let me ask this question.
I'm also not going to come down on him like that's so wrong. Also, he's human.
But let me ask this question.
I'm not calling him the fucking devil. Like,
no, I know. I'm not saying that like we're going super hard on him like he's fucking horrible.
No, do you guys think that it's fair? Because you brought up Jada, and I think what you're saying is valid, Cesar. But I've had this. I'm pretty sure y'all may have had discussions with certain people about this before.
I've been trying not to save it up for this.
But I've had some discussions, I'm not going to lie. And my initial reaction was, I was like, yo, I put this on Jada. All the stuff the last year and change, that putting her business out there on Front Street, the Red Table discussions, her show on Facebook, having interviewed Will about their relationship and their marriage, putting it all out on the table. I felt like she basically created the climate for something like this to happen in some ways, and thinking about it, I still believe that to a certain degree, but I feel like, somebody pointed this out to me that I might be a little bit too insensitive to her in this regard, is that at the end of the day, even if she was mad, even if she gave Will a look, Will made the decision to go up there and smack Chris.
Agreed.
Not Jada. So there's a certain level, we could piece this, that, and the third together and say, and follow the breadcrumbs and be like, yo, this is how we got to this. And we might be right in saying that, but some people are going a little overboard and blaming her.
I think the issue is that people, as we know, like to do, they don't really see shit in the gray area a lot of times. It's they want to pick sides. You go on something like Twitter, you go on social media, they want to pick sides. You know what I mean? They want to outright blame one single person for something, rather than seeing, like you said, she created the climate, yes, but Will gets blamed for making that decision.
Yeah.
He still needs to take accountability, which he did. Obviously, we'll get into that, I'm sure, for making that decision to do that. Because just because she gave him a look and made him feel like he needed to do something, that doesn't necessarily mean that the thing he did was the thing to do, or that she even necessarily wanted him to do.
Right. And this, all of this stuff was bubbling, I feel like, because, you know, again, like you talk about the August Alsina thing where Jada admitted within the last year something that had been rumored for a couple years, that she was in a relationship with the R&B singer August Alsina. He ended up putting out an album, I believe, where he had songs professing his love to her and all of this stuff. And she had to basically address it on her, well, she didn't have to, but she addressed it on her talk show, the Red Table Talk or whatever, which is like a Facebook show. And Will was on there, and they basically talked about their marriage and put it on Front Street. Now, I don't want to kill them so much for that, only because, to be fair, Will and Jada and their relationship has been a discussion of the tabloids and just the internet, social media, for as long as it's been around, for the longest time. And they've been pretty tight-lipped about it. That was the first time they really, really went in painstaking detail about their marriage and the way they looked at their relationship, blah, blah, blah. But in the process of doing that, I think their attempt was to kind of kill rumors and kill perceptions that people had out there. But I think it had an opposite effect, because I think it dug up stuff that people had either forgot about, or it's like it put stuff on Front Street again that wasn't there. And now you have all this shit, all these clips playing the loop. We're in 2022. We're in the age of memes. Like, everybody's doing a meme of Will. They're bringing up the whole Tupac thing because Jada was really, really close with Tupac Shakur. She grew up with him. She was,
that's my
all of that
thing
stuff.
too.
So it plays into all of this. It's like a whole soup of shit.
Of all the things Will could have did, to me, the fact that he went up there and smacked Chris Rock, there's no way he's not in the back of his mind probably, because think about Tupac and him being on his thug shit in that position. You know, Tupac wouldn't have hesitated.
So
probably,
you think that was actually a thought in that moment?
I don't think it was a conscious thought, but I do think it might have been somewhere in his psyche, in his subconscious, of like, bro, you can't live up to Tupac. Like,
I think
so. In that moment, it's like a what would Tupac do kind of thing.
Well, according to Will, and I think somebody said this about his memoir. He just released a memoir like a couple months ago or whatever, right? It's like a New York Times bestseller or whatever. According to like excerpts from that, one of his biggest fears has always been besides Tupac, one of his biggest fears has been not showing or proving to his wife that he was there for her, that he had her back. And supposedly it stems from the fact that his father used to beat his mom, and he used to witness that as a kid. And he felt a guilt towards his mom because he didn't, I guess, as a kid, defend her in the way that he thought that he should have, or imagined in his head that a young kid should. And he brought that into his relationships, where it's like he feels as though an extra added kind of pressure to defend the woman and his wife, who is now his wife, Jada, in the same way he missed that opportunity in his mind when he was a kid watching his dad beat his mom. So, I mean, I don't know if that explains everything.
Son, he needs to address that trauma and not try to overcompensate for...
I thought that was the whole purpose of the memoirs, to address that shit.
I don't know.
Apparently it didn't work.
That's
the thing. We don't know what dude is going through if he's still going through stuff. Like, he's always been a dude that's like, first off, he's a beloved dude by several generations. I love Will Smith too.
I've never had anything bad to say about Will.
Facts. And let's state, he's not a murderer. He smacked a guy. He didn't shoot a guy. He didn't kill a guy. He didn't beat somebody up. Let's put that out there. What he did was wrong, though, and it was fucked up. And there should be consequences for it. Now, I'm not saying that he should have his Oscar taken away, because that shit has nothing to do with it. To me,
those are two separate things. Exactly.
100%.
He earned that.
100%.
That's his.
But given the fact that he did this on an award show, and there is a code of conduct to the Oscars and these type of award shows that these bodies set up, he may have to be suspended for a year. There may have to be something that ties into it, just so you can send a message that, hey, this is not acceptable going forward. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a rumor supposedly that he was asked to leave during the show and he refused. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
Okay. Man, I just hope that he gets through it all right, and they get better, and so does Chris Rock, and he gets through this shit, because it's equally as much of an impact as it is on them. It is on Chris. And you know what I'm saying? Chris ain't do nothing wrong, man. He ain't never been the bad guy. Like, he ain't, like, you know what I'm saying? Out of everybody, you're going to do it to Chris? Come on.
Well,
man.
Yeah, I would say big W to Chris Rock for his handling of it. Bro, he took
the shit like a G. He took it like a G.
He ate that shit. That shit, if Will was trying to make a point, I don't know that he put any fear in anyone.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It wasn't even that clean.
And first off, I love Will. Let me stress that. But that smack was a little sus. Let me just say that. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Yo, the form was like.
Are you talking about the picture where it's like this? Or are you just talking about the actual form of it? Because the pic where his hand is like that and you see it at that funny ass angle like this, that's fake. Apparently that's a fake pic.
Okay, so then maybe I saw a fake pic. But when I was watching live,
but you talking about the video,
even when I was watching live,
it looked weird.
It's like, bro, you portrayed Ali in a movie. I know you're an athlete. Like, that was weird the way you smacked him. Now maybe he had at least the mindset to be like, you know what, I'm gonna smack him, but I ain't gonna wind up and look to kind of take his head off, but I'm going to send a message by smacking him. It could have been that. It could have been that. But
the way he walked off was like if it was a movie.
But let's talk about the joke itself. We all established he definitely looked like it was a movie. I think there was a movie playing. Like, in a movie, that would be the appropriate action. Stand up for your woman. But, like, this is real life. This is real life.
Before we even talk about the joke itself, I was going to say that
he went too Oscars.
I think one of the most fucked up parts of it is that Chris had no idea it was coming. Because like you said, Chris is like, he's expecting Will to probably mess with him. Like I would have expected he comes out, he does like a fake aggressive kind of thing, a headlock, something aggressive.
Chris probably was like, Will's not gonna violate.
Yo, and he was,
and I think even after he hit him, I still think Chris was unsure. Like,
really?
That wasn't. It was was he serious joke. Or like did he hit me as a joke, but he overdid it because that was kind of strong. But, like, I still felt like Chris was trying to read Will, and I feel like it didn't really hit Chris.
Until he was yelling at him?
Until he was yelling at him. And then he was like, whoa, dude. Like,
yo, when I was watching that live, all right, Chris Rock is one of my favorite comedians ever. Like, he's a GOAT to me. I love Chris Rock. I love Dave Chappelle. Those are my two favorite comedians of all time. Just to put that out there. So, when I see them going at it like that, and I love Will Smith, like I grew up on The Fresh Prince, you know, like all his movies, Independence Day, like I saw his rise, you know, I see that shit play out. It really felt like I was in somebody's living room and I'm witnessing an altercation or argument and it's happening and unfolding in front of me. And I was like, it was fucking weird because I was like, I felt like myself getting like anxious. I was like, yo, what the fuck was that? Right? And I don't know them from a hole in the wall, but like I feel like I know them in some ways just because I've been seeing their careers for so long. But when that happened, like I immediately felt bad for all players. I was like, yo, Will is gonna regret doing that. And like I felt, you saw the way that Chris was standing on the side, and like there was a point where it looked like he wanted to say something because he told him it was like a G.I. Jane joke. And then Will was like, keep your wife's name out my fucking mouth. And then he was like, really, dude? And he said it again, and this time way louder. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And he goes, he's like, I will. I'm going to. And then he goes, and then for a moment, you thought he was going to respond and say something. He goes, you know what? And then he stopped himself. He caught himself, and then he proceeded. But you noticed the other thing also, if you guys picked up on this, Chris, and this goes to your point, Cesar, that he might have not known until he sat down. Chris is still performing. He smacks him. He stood there, and then he goes, Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. He's ad-libbing this. And then he goes, and then even Will was yelling. He goes, no. I think even before Will was yelling, he goes, well, this is the greatest TV moment of all time, he says. Like, in the moment, and I think it's partly because it was an awkward moment. He says that after. He says it after. So, like, it's crazy because, like, props to him for having not only the control to kind of do that and not react. Because, like, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like Chris Rock had a chance to beat up Will Smith. Like, there's a size difference there of several inches. Will is They're both older. Will is much bigger than him. But you never know. A fight is a fight. But that could have been ugly. And then, like, imagine them swinging on stage each other. Like,
man, some people would have backed up Chris Rock.
I feel like Chris didn't even have.
That's what I had to jump in too.
I feel like Chris didn't even have the chance to, if he wanted to counter. I don't think he had the chance because, like we said, he didn't really know. It seemed like he didn't really know if he was serious until after he sat down. So even if he wanted to counter right then and there, Will had already turned his back. Yeah. So now I feel like a bitch if I throw.
That's interesting. You say that because a lot of people are getting on Will for hitting somebody with his hands behind his back in a defensive position.
100%.
And they're like,
I got at him too. Like in my mind, I didn't hop on Twitter or nothing and tweet shit.
But some people calling him a bitch for doing that. Cause it's like,
it was kind of soft to me. Cause you ain't, cause if you got a problem with the man and you want to step to him like a man, let him know what's up. Like, give him that one. Like, to me, if Will has said, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth before he got on stage, and then Chris says something next, then it's like, all right, I'm coming to you. Right. And now we know what type of time it is. You know what type of energy I'm on. And so now it's like, you better react. And based on your... Or if he says, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth, and then Chris is like, oh, all right, bet, my fault. It was just a G.I. Jane joke, whatever, but I'm going to. Then you don't have to do that. So that's another way you could have acted in that moment. It was weird because everybody was laughing, including you. I'm sure Chris also probably saw you got a chuckle out of it. And then you come up to the stage and you got this, like, kind of like this smile. Well, I don't know what his face was approaching Chris, but we saw the face walking away, and it was kind of like a... Like, it wasn't like a angry, it was like a...
And Will was operating on the assumption, and so was his wife based on her reaction, because I can't totally blame her for that also, but they were both operating on the assumption that Chris knew about her condition and still went there. And that much is not clear, right? So from what I heard, I think Charlemagne, the guy, was talking about this on the Breakfast Club, where he had mentioned that he had spoke with Chris and to check on him to see if he was all right. He said he was. He said he was good. And they briefly spoke, and he admitted to the fact that he did not know ahead of making those comments that his wife had a medical condition, and that was the reason that she was bald. He thought she was just doing. He was assuming that she was just bald by choice, which she is technically by choice because she decided to shave her head because she has alopecia. You know. By the way, I have alopecia. I've had it since I was in high school.
You have a great head of hair, Eric.
Thank you.
I want you to know.
So it affects people in different ways, right? So basically, there's some people like, you remember the basketball player Charlie Villanueva from UConn. Yeah. He had no hair. He had no eyebrows. He had alopecia, but he had this form of alopecia totalis with basically no body hair.
It's like, oh yeah.
When I was younger in high school, I used to have like dime size kind of patches on my head, like behind my ear and like over here, like closer to my temple. And that started initially when I was a junior in high school, whatever. And part of it is stress. They say it could trigger it. Part of it is, eating habits. It's just environment. There's a lot of different things. And at that time, I was a high school kid. I was applying to colleges and stuff. Like, it was stressful. Like, I was trying to get my grades up to get into the college of my choice. So like all of that shit had, a play in that. So I have it even to this day. It's not really super evident. Like, even in my beard, like you could see a little patch and stuff. So people deal with it. And I'm not trying to demean that, but like, somebody made the point, was like, first of all, he doesn't have a fucking medical chart of the people in the audience before he makes a joke. Let's get that straight.
Yeah. I think you're fucking, you taking yourself too seriously, or you think too highly of yourself, if just because you think you've been open about something, that everyone else has to know what the hell is going on. Because I had no idea.
Right. And
I had no idea. As transparent as she's been, and applaud her for that, cool, because there are people that watch her that probably appreciate her transparency in that regard. Bro, the world don't revolve around you. We don't all know your business as much as you want to tell us your business.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure Chris is not watching those fucking Red Table Talks and be like, oh, like, come on. And guess what?
Yeah. Red Table Talk ain't up for Oscar.
Yo, guess what? Even if Chris knew, I still don't think it's that bad of a joke. We're not talking about somebody who has stage 4 cancer. Like, you can't die from this disease. And that's not to be insensitive. Like, yo, when I used to have those patches in my head and stuff, and it used to be visible, I used to get ranked. Like, niggas used to say shit about it in school to me. And I used to have to eat that. My own brother used to fucking make fun of me. Like, you know what I mean? So like, it is what it is. You gotta have to deal with that.
You're not above getting roasted.
Yeah.
Especially at this venue. Like.
Yeah.
Honestly though, maybe Will Smith was Tupac before Tupac. The first Tupac.
Where's this going?
He was.
He was the actor, but he was a gangster.
All along? He was really about that life?
All along. Yep.
Yo, somebody said on Twitter that Bel Air got mad dark and will follow suit. Yo, but what? So let me ask you guys this though. I'm interested to know. What do you think, if you had a prediction, what happens now? So you have talk of there being supposedly the Oscars body, whoever the governing body of the Oscars is meeting right now, and they're actively having discussions on how to discipline him, in what way. There have been stuff about taking the Oscar away, but a lot of people have shut that down. I don't think they go that far. I would be shocked if they do. What do you think is justifiable, and what do you think happens in terms of discipline? But also, more importantly, what do you think happens to his career, and can he rehabilitate it and stuff? Because the thing that we have to think about, and you're already seeing this, comics and the comic community is taking what he did very, very seriously, and they're all banding together and taking shots and roasting Will Smith.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of that. I think people are going to roast him, and, just like any situation deserves dissection and roasting in a lot of cases. He's not above anything, and especially like all the respect people had for him, I don't think necessarily like it's gone, but it makes it takes him from like untouchable, where people were like, nah, we're not messing with Will, to like, you know what, this is an exception to that. And so I think he's gonna get, you know, a lot. He's gonna take a lot of shots. I don't know how long it's gonna be. If it's gonna be a year, I don't want to say a year, but you know, maybe a couple months, maybe something light, you know. And I think his career is gonna be fine. You know, I think he's built up enough respect in the industry. I think as far as Oscar's discipline, maybe they say he can't be there for next year, maybe a year or two. I don't know.
But is it me or
that? I don't think it's like career threatening or career altering.
Did Chris Rock call Will Smith Richard when he was walking up to him?
Yeah, because he was talking about King Richard.
Yeah, man, that was like, so what the heck? Because I didn't see it live either.
But that's another like, sign of like, as he's walking towards him, like, he don't know that it's on some real shit. Yeah. You know, he thinks I got a question.
Will might have snapped into the King Richard role for that moment too, when he did that shit. Because the way he walked off, he was tapped into something. He's just like,
what were you gonna say, Cesar?
I was gonna ask y'all, do y'all think Will has that same energy if it was someone like The Rock that was up there?
No,
that said that. Because I was having that conversation with my older brother and he put that in my head. So I'll shout out to
The
him.
Rock. Yo, forget The Rock. How about Dave Chappelle? Let's talk about somebody.
That's a good one. Let's do that. That's better.
Let's talk about somebody who's closer to his size. Like Dave Chappelle used to be really skinny back in the day, but he's not anymore. He got a little weight on him.
He might have still did it. He might have.
Well, listen, your wife, like that's your wife. So like you can do, and he even said it himself in the speech, which I want to talk about also. I don't know if y'all saw the speech, but he said, I want to talk about that too. He said, love makes you do crazy things. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the gist of it. And it's true. We can't dismiss the fact that it doesn't matter who the fuck was on stage. He was going to go press them. But I'll tell you one thing. It's a lot easier to do that shit when the person standing on stage is 150 pounds soaking wet and is 5'8", 5'9", as opposed to somebody who's 6+ and is just solid. And it's like, you know, if you approach that dude in a certain way, he might be more about that action.
I don't think he does it even if it's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
I think that, and I don't even know if it's a respect thing, because Chris Rock deserves, as a comic, just as much respect. So I think it's definitely like he looked at him like, I could sun him. I could sun. This is one I could sun right now.
Yeah.
And so he took his opportunity to. See, I don't want to say like he's trying to look good in front of his wife to make her.
I think that was 100%.
Like, I don't know how deep it goes, but
I think he felt the need to rise to the occasion for his wife in that moment. And like, I'm not gonna kill him for that, but he fucked up.
Yeah,
he fucked up.
Now, what do we think about? Because as far as I know, Jada didn't like. Would the word be like not reprimand, but she didn't seem to be opposed to the course of action he took, which I think is another issue. And that just shows how bad that situation is.
Well, it's hard to read, Jada. Like, the camera wasn't fixed on her. Let's be fair. So we don't know. We're only speculating. But like, based on what I saw, I don't know if him doing that help matters with them and her and how she looked at him. I don't know if she was happy about it. She could have been fucking embarrassed about it. Honestly, we don't really know that. And she's going to support her man publicly. So I doubt she's really going to say that if she did feel different about it. But yeah, like that whole shit is weird. It will forever be weird. It continues to be weird. It's going to be weird now. Next week,
weird, yeah.
Like at the end of the day, but yeah, I will say this though. So Chris is on tour currently. It's the Ego Death Tour is the name of his tour. Ironically, Ego Death Tour. Supposedly he had a show yesterday in Boston, and he somewhat addressed it, and basically, I'll pull up the article. he basically said, he told the crowd, I don't have a bunch of shit about what happened. So if you came here to hear that, I have a whole show I wrote before this weekend. I'm still kind of processing what happened. So at some point, I'll talk about that shit, and it will be serious and funny. Now, I say that to say, to Aaron's point earlier, he was, empathetic to Chris and basically was saying, yo, like, this is a dude who got embarrassed on the stage, like, and like, he's internalizing shit. Obviously, he just said it,
Yeah.
And I'm going to see him in July at Jones Beach Theater. I bought tickets 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Did you actually? That's crazy.
Yes, I bought.
He's gonna be with not Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart also for 2 days in New York, right?
I'm going to see the Barclays Madison Square Garden and the Long Beach Stadium in Long Beach, Long Island. Okay. I'm going to the one in Long Beach because I couldn't get tickets to the Garden because it was like sold out so quick.
Yeah.
But just so you know, I'm not bullshitting. This right here, so you can see the Ticketmaster. You know what I mean?
Somebody going to watch this podcast and scan your QR code.
Nah, they can't. They can't.
They
can't. We don't have enough viewers yet, but
Gotcha.
we building there. But yeah, like, I'm excited.
Tickets to the Kevin Hart. Chris
What's
Rock.
the timestamp on this? Yeah,
No Politics
let's see.
Podcast.
Nah, but I'm excited because as much of a fan of Will I am, and I will still support him despite this whole incident, I want Chris to fucking bring it. And I know, knowing Chris, he is very intelligent comedian. He's smart. He's thoughtful. He's going to bring it. And he has every right to use his platform now because he has to talk about it now because it's a part of his story as an entertainer. Whether he likes it or not, he's forever going to be linked to Will Smith now. And opposite, Will is forever going to be linked to him over that incident.
Yep.
Overshadowed his Oscar award unintentionally. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. Was it Will, I believe, is the first artist who was a rapper turned actor to win an Oscar for on the male side. So Eminem won, 3 6 Mafia won. They won in the music categories though. Queen Latifah won for Best Supporting Actress, and I believe Will is the first male from hip hop culture to win an Oscar. I don't believe there's been anybody else. That third time he's been nominated, so that's historic. Like, dude went from, like this clean cut rapper and stuff to being a TV star to being a movie star, and now an Oscar winner. The first Tupac. Yeah, man, it's fucked up. But
I wanted to mention what Denzel said to him, where he says, like,
Denzel, calm him down.
At your highest,
those bars.
That's when the devil comes for you.
Woo.
But
say that again for the people out there.
At your highest, that's when the devil comes for you.
Woo.
Lucifer, son of the morning.
Yeah, man.
So what do y'all thoughts on that?
Aaron, you can go.
Man, Denzel, man, what a man. That's it.
Definitely go.
Nah, but that's
I
heavy.
read
that's
someone
heavy
say
shit. That's heavy shit. And
who's the devil though in this situation?
Whatever's telling him to run on stage.
Who's telling him?
The voice in his head.
So it's in his own mind.
He's his own enemy.
Is Chris Rock the devil that's egging him on?
Wasn't Chris
Is
Rock.
Jada the devil?
It could be the higher powers.
Was it all the white people in the room? I'm just saying.
Nah, I read someone on Twitter was like, Denzel said that to Will, and Will heard him, but I think it went over Will's head. He was talking about Jada's the devil. I was like,
damn.
Wait a minute.
I'll say this though. I don't know
because everyone else was enjoying the moment when that joke was made. Everyone else enjoyed the moment. But the one thing that changed that moment, the one thing that sparked that moment changing was Jada's reaction.
All right, but did y'all feel this though?
Is whether it's her ego, whatever.
Did y'all feel at all? I don't know if you saw the speech, Aaron, or saw the clip or whatever, but did you feel as though when Will quoted Denzel and shared what Denzel told him to the crowd and to the viewing audience, that was information that should have been privileged and not put out there? Like when they shook hands to Denzel, like I felt like, damn, like I don't think that was for everybody else, bro. I think that was just for you, and you basically told everybody else about it. That should have been a moment between y'all. Or am I overthinking this?
I think you're overthinking it a little.
I would say you're possibly overthinking it. I will say that I think people took issue that he kind of tried to, in his acceptance speech, rather than apologizing, he tried to justify how he reacted.
What Aaron said earlier, he talked about King Richard. Chris Rock called him Richard when he walked up there. He basically said in his speech that, like King Richard, who would do anything for his family, he said art is imitating life. That shit sounds sweet and stuff, but
in the movie he spazzes on people for his kids.
Yes, but if I'm somebody who's a family member in the Williams household, like in the Williams family, and I'm watching that from home, I feel a certain way. Now, maybe Venus and Serena, who were there in attendance, didn't necessarily take offense to that, but ironically, I don't know if y'all saw this, Richard Williams actually released a statement and condemned what Will did through a spokesperson. He cannot speak. I believe he had a stroke that left him unable to kind of really talk. So, but he, through somebody else, expressed that he wasn't rocking with what Will did, and he condemned it. So if he's not rocking with what Will did, he's probably not rocking with the fact that Will used him as a crutch. If like, let's be real, he used him as a crutch to justify poor behavior by him.
I feel you. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Woo.
And so
what a topic. What a topic. This is something that's we're gonna talk about for years.
I think I'm done after this.
Nah, I'm definitely done after this. But no, there's gonna be more chapters though, because it's like Chris is gonna eventually respond. He's gonna talk his shit, right? However he does that. Honestly speaking, I slightly disagree with you, Cesar. I know you said that eventually he'll get over it, and I do believe he'll get over it, Will, and get past it. But I feel like it ain't just gonna go disappear. You know why? Because he's forever gonna be tied to this, and I feel like because he did what he did, and he did it in such a public way, and who he did it to, I feel like him and his family are actually gonna pay for this in ways that he probably doesn't even imagine. And that goes beyond just other comics roasting him. I think that goes into business. Like, this was studio heads and producers and directors who are vocal on Twitter who was like, yo, that was ridiculous what he did. Like, it could end up being that certain people may not want to work with him now. It could be that certain comics who would have normally done a buddy film with him might be like, nah, I'm with Chris. That was fucking bullshit what you did, and that apology didn't go far enough. Like,
so what do you think of his apology? That's another
I think it sounded nice, but it sounded prepared, and it sounded like the bare minimum of what he needed to do. I'm not mad at it. I think knowing Will Smith and knowing what we do know of him as a public persona, this was totally out of character. So I'm not gonna vilify him any more than he needs to be. You know, I'm not going to put him on the cross and stuff like that. I think he's a human being. Shit happens. But I do feel as though he definitely woke up that next morning not feeling good about himself because he knew the levity of things and what that shit did and the ripple effects that's going to have for him. And look at his wife. His wife didn't smack anybody, but she's like his accomplice in this whole thing. Like, she's getting in some circles, she's getting more smoke than him.
And that's And that's because people don't really. I don't think people rock with Jada like that. I don't think people have rocked with Jada for a while, especially since the August Alsina shit and the entanglement shit.
Because they feel that she's making Will look like a simp out here and stuff for the longest time. They felt like he's making him look like a sucker.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Like he does. Yeah. It's weird. Like he seems to do the most for her, but when she fucks him over, he don't got like.
She's the one that could fix this, in my opinion.
Reaction.
There's two people that could fix this. I feel like she's the one that needs to step up. And I'm not trying, again, I want to be sensitive I want to blame her, but like, because she was the subject and she was the catalyst for this, in some ways, because of that, I think she has a responsibility at some point to talk about it. So this way we could put the shit behind us. And I feel like at some point, I would imagine Chris is probably going to be like, all right, he's going to call off the dogs and be like, all right, comedians, like, let's put this to the side. I have a history with this dude, because they have a history. It's not like they're fucking strangers. Yeah. That's what makes it also weird.
That's what fucked me up more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But one thing we didn't talk about is the Oscars that Chris Rock hosted several years ago. He has a joke that people brought up where he goes at Jada, right? And basically at that Oscars, it was the Oscars so white Oscars. And there was a whole thing where it was hashtag Oscars so white, because for that Oscars, there was no black people nominated in any of the categories. So there were certain black actors that protested that Oscars. Jada was one of the people that led the protest, and Will also protested with her. So Jada didn't show up. So Chris hosted the show. Chris gets up there on stage and he says, oh, so I see Jada Smith is not in attendance. She protested this year's Oscars. And then he goes, doesn't Jada do TV anyway? Her protesting the Oscars is like me protesting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited. So that shit, supposedly she was not happy about that. But
in smoke.
So
once she saw
but to me, it's only smoke.
Wasn't ready to receive any good energy from him. She already had smoke.
Yeah,
maybe.
But to me, it doesn't justify the Will thing. A lot of people have used that to say like it justifies the Will thing because they already had a thing prior that so it was building. But to me, it only justifies it if when that shit first came up, Will had a conversation with Chris like, "Yo, I ain't appreciate that. Let's not let it happen again." And then Chris said what he said on this past Oscars, and then Will was like, "Nah, it's on site. I ain't even got to say nothing."
Yeah, and
that's the only way I would be like, "All right," but judging by the fact that Will was laughing initially, that would be really hard for me to believe.
But also, here's the other thing. I don't know if y'all didn't see the Oscars, so I don't know if y'all knew this. There's a point in the show with one of the Oscar hosts. So it was hosted by 3 females. It was Amy Schumer, the comic,
Wanda
Sykes, and Regina Hall. So Regina Hall from Cesar's favorite movie, the classic movie, Scary Movie.
Scary movie, classic.
He's going to die on that hill. But anyway.
Absolute. Classic.
2 people saying it's a classic. All right.
You're outnumbered.
She gets on stage and she goes into this whole bit about coronavirus. She was like, oh, everybody. She stops. She goes, listen, everybody, I know we all tested in order for us to be here at the show, but I just got word that some of these tests came back positive. So if I call your name, please come to the stage and I'm going to have to administer a personal examination of you. Now, she's saying this in a very suggestive, sexual kind of way. It has sexual undertones. She calls up a bunch of dudes. One of the dudes from what's the Marvel movie with the Asian Marvel movie? I'm sorry.
Shang-Chi?
Yes. She calls the lead actor from that film, a couple other actors, most of them eligible bachelors, right? Guys who are like attractive dudes, I guess, or whatever to her.
Regina King?
Regina Hall. Right? So they all on stage, all of these dudes. She looks over to Will and Jada, right? And she goes, Will, ironically, your name was also on this list as positive. And from what I understand, Jada gave you consent and doesn't have any issue with you being up here. So Jada, they pan to Jada, and Jada is like kind of had like a smirk, like a laugh, and she's like this, like pointing at her like that, waving her finger, like kind of laughing it off. And Will is laughing, and he's like, doesn't want any parts. She is making a reference to the fact that they said they had an open relationship supposedly at some point. So a lot of people felt
that went over my head.
A lot of people felt as though that was worse than what Chris said, because she really went there, because that's something they spoke about, you know. And Chris made a bald joke because he thought she just cut her hair like that and that was her new hairstyle, not because she had a reason to do it.
It wasn't like a hair loss joke, or it was as simple as you're bald, G.I. Jane is bald. Very like it wasn't any deeper than that.
I have a question for y'all. G.I. Jane, does that register for y'all at all? Like, do you guys?
I know Demi Moore is like an old movie when I was young.
Okay, because I didn't know, because I felt
I used to watch that on VCR.
I thought it was a corny joke, number one.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't like hilarious. It was like a It was just like a. Yeah. I thought it was just like an
throwaway joke,
a sidebar, a throwaway. Yeah. Exactly.
And I also felt like, all right, if you really think about it, G.I. Jane was like a heroine. She was a strong female who was an historic figure in the armed forces. Being compared to her is not necessarily the worst fucking thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other people that you could take offense to being compared to. Like, you know, like, yo, they showed a clip of Leonardo DiCaprio at an award ceremony. I think it was the Oscars or Golden Globes. And Ricky Gervais, the comedian from, was it the original Office, the UK Office? He gets up on there and he starts making reference to Leonardo DiCaprio's dating habits, because Leo is known to date younger women. You know, he's in his late 40s or whatever, and he dates younger women. He's always with a bad younger chick, 20 years younger than him in a lot of cases. He makes reference to it and compares him to one of these princes from the royal family in England who was a known pedophile. Leo laughed at the joke in the audience. He laughed at it, and everybody else was laughing. He didn't get up on stage and try to smack him, punch him, do any of that. The chick who was with him didn't try to, you know, like none of that shit. That's where you draw the line, Aaron. You were like, yeah. Bald-headed jokes are okay, but like, you're gonna call me a pedophile, then we fighting.
I think one of the keys to being likable in life is you cannot have an ego and you can't take yourself too seriously. And nobody is upset at you when you do that. When you could say, you know what, like, I'm not above getting joked on. I could take it in stride because I know who I am. That's when you win. That's when you're likable, and that's when, you know, shit just rolls off of you. Facts. So,
Word. So,
any last thoughts?
Yeah, what a weekend.
Yeah,
what a weekend.
WrestleMania is coming up.
Rest in peace, Scott Hall.
Yeah, definitely rest in peace, Scott Hall.
We got it.
Back, NWO, word. You know.
Subscribe or you get smacked.
Thank you for watching.
All right, but make sure y'all go like, comment, subscribe. Make sure y'all share. Make sure y'all hit the notifications. Follow on all the socials. We'll see y'all next week. Word. Peace.